What's up? Welcome back to Nostalgia. Dave here with a review of Drake's 8th album, For All the Dogs. Yes, of course, Drake is back with new music because this is what he does. He never goes away. Last year, he gave us his 7th album, Honestly Nevermind, and also a collab album with 21 Savage, Her Loss. Drake has since gone on the It's All a Blur tour, been in the news for a bunch of other things in addition to that tour, really taking Central C under his wing, which has been nice to see. Been at the heart of the artificial intelligence music debate with the AI song Heart on My Sleeve featuring AI Drake vocals. And now Drake has also given us new music, despite the fact that he's been on tour for months on end. And this is kind of what Drake does. I think coming into this, I was actually very high on Her Loss. I thought Her Loss was some of the best Drake has sounded in many years. I think that's really just kind of on the banger front, right? I just thought there was tons of really fun songs to spend time with on the album. And, songs like Major Distribution and Rich Flex and On BS and Treacherous Twins, Back Eyed Side Boys, Jumbotron, Shit Poppin'. I loved many songs on Her Loss. For All the Dogs is kind of in the same mold as Her Loss, obviously without the 21 Savage collab, and kind of continuing this creative partnership that Drake has developed with Lil Yachty of all people, where Yachty is once again involved on the production, on the writing side, behind the scenes on several songs on For All the Dogs, the way he was involved with songs on Her Loss. And a lot's been made of, I think, lyrically where Drake has gone to with these last two albums, Her Loss and now For All the Dogs. And I think, Drake, about to turn 37, is not really adapting to that age. He is really kind of maintaining, I won't say maintaining his youth, but maintaining the way he's always thought about things. And he's really kind of putting down women throughout the run of most of these albums now. And, it's bordering on misogyny to blatant misogyny at times. It's toxic masculinity for sure. That's what I think what Drake is now. And I think for me, I'm not really looking to these albums for strong lyrics because Drake is not giving us consistent lyricism with these records. Now, there are fun bars for sure. There are fun moments of writing, and occasionally he will bust out the pen and give you a time track. 3 a.m. in Glenwood was a 21 song, really nice gesture. But For All the Dogs, we have, of course, 8 a.m. in Charlotte, where Drake is once again reminding you that he is about that action when it comes to writing when he wants to. But for the most part, lyrically, it's a lot of the same stuff we've been getting the last few records. It's, Drake suffering from success. Drake can't trust any women, but let me tell you, he's with a lot of them, We know this from Drake. So I'm not really looking for anything new in that regard. I'm just, and I think the other piece too is we go through this every time Drake releases an album. Is this the best Drake album? No, this album sucks. There's so much hyperbole in both sides when it comes to any new Drake album. But also, there's always the talk of, does Drake have a classic? What is Drake's classic? And you have people that say he has no classics, like me, and people that say he's 5 classics, which is absurd. There's so much talk in either direction. I think for me, the reason I can't completely celebrate any of the recent albums is that they're just blatantly too long. He's giving you too much music. These are not curated albums. For All the Dogs is 23 songs, an hour and 24 minutes long. I love a lot of songs on For All the Dogs, the same way I loved a lot of songs on Her Loss. Trim the fat. It's just really frustrating from Drake because Drake, right now, he's number 3 on Spotify monthly listeners. He'll get at least to number 2. I'm not sure he'll pass The Weeknd. The Weeknd's kind of untouchable at number 1 right now. But new album, bunch of new songs. He'll probably get to number 2 at least. Why is Drake so concerned with streaming? Why do we have to flood the zone, feed the streets with almost 30 songs every album? Why don't you make a really tight album and just release the best songs? I don't understand why Drake is so concerned with the streaming game. He's the king of streaming. You're still the king of streaming with less music. You'll be fine. I don't quite get it. He's going to sell 450,000 records, on pace for that with For All the Dogs, because he's Drake. The album could have been terrible, and he would have done that anyway. It doesn't matter. So it's always just a bit of frustration for me with late period Drake that he's more concerned with gaming the streams and just flooding the zone with tons of volume than it is to, you know, actually make something more cohesive and really great. Like, look at the top Spotify chart right now, the US Spotify top 50. The first 10 songs are Drake songs, and then 8 of the next 10 are Drake songs. The whole album's at the top of the chart. That would have been the case if he released less songs. So it's a sticking point for me when it comes to evaluating the whole album. So that's why I have appreciation for the songs that we do get, and I just take away the songs that I like. So exactly what I do at Her Loss. Exactly what I do at Honestly Nevermind as well. Shout out Sticky, for example. Shout out Tex Go Green. And now, I'll just do the same thing. So, what songs did I like on this? Let's see. Again, a lot of songs to go through, but again, I think there's some bangers for sure. Right off the bat, you have Virginia Beach, which I don't love as a track, but notably it's kind of sampling Frank Ocean, and it's just a kind of a funny deep pull where it's the song it's the song Wise Man, which was going to be on the Django Unchained soundtrack. Didn't actually make the soundtrack, but Frank put it out anyway from 2012. I remember the song when it came out. It's just a funny pull because it's not like a popular Frank song. Track 2, though, Amen. I think this one stands out in a nice way, just because you have Tizo Touchdown, and Tizo not doing his kind of like alt rock vibe. It's actually like a little different. It's almost Tizo in his kind of like soulful R&B bag, a bit different from him. And I like that. I love when the choir backs up Tizo's vocals. He sounds pretty good on the song, and just goes to show you how rapidly rising Tizo Touchdown is as an artist. In the last few years, he's been on a Drake album. This year, he was on the Travis Scott album. He was on the last Tyler the Creator album. He was on the last Yachty, Don Toliver, and Rico Nasty album as well. Rapidly rising. A big example, classic example of Drake having his finger on the pulse with young talent and bringing them in, whether it's for self-interest or the fact that he's also a huge rap nerd. That's what Drake does. So you have Tizo Touchdown on this album. You, of course, have Sexy Red on this album, on Rich Baby Daddy. Sexy Red, one of the hottest young rappers right now, perhaps the hottest. So a big pull as well. This is what Drake does. Anyway, I liked Amen. Calling for You, nice 21 song. I think the Drake using the auto-tune, jumping out of it, the sample of the woman on the plane, I thought that was going to be like the Sea and Ghost viral plane meme, but it wasn't that. It was just some woman bitching about not being in first class. It's like, we get it, Drake. You're rich. We don't need to hear this shit all the time. 21 comes in. It sounds like a different song. The bass drops, but we just got so many great Drake and 21 songs. I'm not really going to go back to this one over their lost highlights. Daylight. This one is interesting. You have the Scarface sample, but of course the big talking point is you have Adonis Graham at the end, Drake's son. And yeah, don't think it sounds great. I guess it's kind of funny that Drake gave a verse to his kid. It's kind of stupid, in my opinion. Not going to revisit it all that much. But yeah, it's kind of funny. First Person Shooter featuring J. Cole. Is this the best Drake and Cole collab? It might be. Cole sounds incredible on this. Really fiery, really rapping. Awesome lines about, comparing, of course, the Holy Trio, Holy Trinity, Drake, K-Dot, and Cole. Love it. Love the Kendrick reference. Whenever we get those, I love when they talk about each other. Yeah. Take Heath beat. That's a banger for sure. And honestly, Cole kind of washes Drake. Cole's the biggest part of the song. Really awesome. I love the beat flip. Love the drums on it. I Don't Give a Fuck. A lot of noise has been made about this one in the lead up to it because this is a song featuring Yeet. Speaking of Drake working with the hottest and the youngest stars in hip-hop, Yeet, of course, is at the forefront as well. A lot of fanfare about this one. Drake on a rage beat. Drake's almost 37. Can he keep up? I don't know. He barely kept up, but I gotta say, Yeet absolutely spazzed on this one. I'm not even a huge Yeet guy, to be honest, but Yeet sounds so good. This is an absolute banger for sure. Amazing beat, and Drake didn't get in the way, I guess. I really like this one a lot. I think it's really fun. 7969 Santa, you have the Chief Keef Obvious pull, I don't like. Tizo touchdown again in the background. Snoop Dogg popping in as like a radio host. Shout out Vince Staples FM. I love when people do this. Um, yeah, that brings us to Slime You Out, the first single featuring SZA. Another example of Drake kind of just being a dick in the world, where he apparently asked Halle Berry her permission to use the picture of her getting slimed. She said no, and then he used it anyway. Really disrespectful. If you're going to ask, then you should follow suit with what they say. Why would you ask? It's just kind of a fucked up thing to do. Sign Me Out. Don't love the song. Obviously, there's a lot of fanfare going into this one, as it's Drake and SZA finally making a song together after all these years. I think SZA sounds nice. Very strong singing from SZA. But the song, I don't really care for it. Drake's bars, I think, are snoozers for the most part. Didn't really like the song too much. Yeah, but it seemed to be a big hit. I think that's just because it's a Drake and SZA song and nothing else. Screw the World interlude, a bit random with the DJ Screw drop, but I mean, I guess it's cool. Let's see here. Members only. Party Next Door, fellow OVO artist. Drake always gets the best out of him. I've never really been a P&D guy for the most part. Not my favorite brand of R&B, but sounds really nice with this. I think, he definitely gives his best when Drake puts him on like this. What would Pluto do, though? Goddamn. This is a banger. This is probably my favorite song on this. It doesn't seem to be like the consensus favorite song by any means, but that is everything I want from Drake to the most part. Is a really lively up-tempo beat, Drake rapping, doing some singing, doing all the Drakeisms. The beat will kick in, Drake will like re-pick up the tempo. I've been going back to this one a lot. I think it's awesome. Obviously, it's a reference to Future with the title, and lyrically, it's everything I've been saying, in terms of Drake talking about women and stuff. I don't care, though. This is, Drake sounds so lifelike. This would have fit right in on Her Loss, honestly, in terms of Drake's delivery. Like, I think that's kind of like peak late period Drake, is that kind of delivery, that kind of performance, and I just find it incredibly catchy. Definitely my favorite song on here. 8 a.m. in Charlotte, another entry in the Time freestyles that Drake has been doing for over a decade now. Obviously, a big deal when he releases one of these songs. They're never bad. This one, produced by Conductor Williams, of course, famously one of the big influences on the Griselda sound, working with Westside Gunn and Mac Homie. The fact that Drake is on like the type of drum production that you get from Griselda, it's a big W for the Griselda scene and like underground hip hop, alternative hip hop in general. Really cool. And shout out Conductor Williams, who's been producing in the game for long ass time. That's a really nice song, though. I have to say, like Drake, like I said, like really in his bag. I just great rapping from him. Really liked it. The Bad Bunny song, Gently. Didn't care for this one, to be honest. They have a song from several years ago at this point, Mia, which I think is way more fun, way more catchy. No, that's a Bunny song featuring Drake, not the reverse that we have here. I think this is not the second. This is the second time we've had like a high-profile rapper with a Bunny feature. Of course, we had K-pop with The Weeknd and Bad Bunny on the Travis Scott album. That was, I think, offensively terrible and so transparently trying to cheat the system with streams. Gently is not to that degree, but I just don't think it's very good, to be honest. Drake, to his credit, is really effective at playing in other sounds, playing in other genres, and that's what makes Mia so good as a collab, where Drake is basically hopping on, Bunny as he was leaving Latin Trap behind at the time. That was, I think, a really fun song. But this isn't special at all. Rich Baby Daddy, Sexy Red, really awesome. Best part of the song. Again, kind of waxes Drake. This is a really nice feature on this as well, just like Slam You Out. In fact, Drake is, I think, the least important part of the song. If anything, Rich Baby Daddy could have been a Sexy Red song featuring SZA. We didn't even need Drake, to be honest. But it's on Drake's album. It's a nice song. Another Late Night. Really fun video from Cole Bennett with this one, featuring Yachty. Of course, like I said, Yachty, 5 credits on this album. It's quite fun. I wasn't expecting Drake to immediately diss Dylan Brooks. Kind of feels like a dated reference at this point, to be honest. Dylan Brooks just had a really good summer competing with Team Canada, after all. But kind of a line that's been talked about a lot. I ain't pretty Flacco. Bitch, this shit get really rocky. Is it an ASAP Rocky diss or not? I think it's a really funny line, for sure. Some people, maybe it's a little elementary, but it's a funny line. Is he shitting on Rocky's dick and the fact that Drake's got a bigger dick or gets harder? I'm not quite sure. Funny line. There's some clear references to Pusha T and Kanye earlier on this that I think are clear disses or clear references, and Drake talking about fake love and beefing with older dudes and things like that. I enjoy those references. I like it when Drake is more transparent in who he's talking to. It's all fun. This Rocky line, though, I think is pretty fun. Don't think it's really much of a diss. But either way, Rocky won't respond. Rihanna won't say anything because they don't have to say anything. Away from Home. Drake has been doing this the last few albums. He just does a no hook, rapping about his life type song. You know, sometimes they're a bit woe is me. Away from Home, though, Drake took some shots at Esperanza Spalding. Esperanza Spalding, obviously the jazz artist, famously winning Best New Artist at the Grammys, defeating both Drake and Justin Bieber back in, 2010, 2011, whenever that was. I don't think he's ever really rapped about that before. And it's kind of a teardown of Esperanza Spalding, who, is not a famous artist, but is very famous and successful and celebrated in the jazz scene. It's just uncalled for, to be honest. Yeah, so I don't necessarily need to hear that. Apparently, Drake did not get credit to interpolate the chorus of West End Girls by the Pet Shop Boys. So they have called him out on that. I forgot what song he did that on. But, the Pet Shop Boys, For All the Dogs, there's a funny joke to tell there. Alas, the dogs did not go to the pet shop, whatever. I'm sure they'll resolve that, and some publishing will go to the Pet Shop Boys because Drake as publishing shares the spare. He makes so much money with all this shit after all. So yeah, I think there's some nice songs, some fun songs to be with on For All the Dogs. It's not quite to the highs of Her Loss for me. I just thought the core 7 songs I loved on Her Loss I really loved. Not quite to the same degree with me with For All the Dogs, but What Would Pluto Do? I think it's really up there for me. Some of the other songs really nice as well. But yeah, Drake, I think Drake kind of is what he is right now, and he's talking about wanting to take some time off for his health and whatnot. It'd be really nice if Drake went a year without giving us music and really put some time into the music he did make once it did come out. I think he's close because, again, I think Her Loss, he sounds really fresh, and maybe he spends more time with the writing, with some time away. We can get something really special again. But, I think for me, my favorite Drake album is If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. 8 years ago now, I'm not sure you can get back to that. But let me know, how'd you feel about Drake's For All the Dogs? How would you rank this against his most recent albums? And for more rap reviews, more music reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.